Hails and welcome to Rauta's Reviews. This time we're gonna talk one of the most anticipated albums of the year. Well, at least in this context, this one is Deströyer 666 with Never Surrender out of 2nd of December 2022. Personally requested by me from the label to review this CD, because it's actually one of my the favorite Australian-based band ever. Ever since this band released its debut MCD, Violence is the Prince of this World, before the actual first album, Unchained the Wolves, saw daylight, I was already the fan of the band, and the more they kept releasing albums and all that stuff, the more a fan I became. And also when I saw the band play live, first time, second time and all that stuff, the more it just, emphasized my love for the band. I know this is a kind of a curious case, and one could say in so many ways that this is very much a questionable band with the words that they have said and all that stuff, but be it as may, they have always written good music. And one of the key elements in this band is that they have always included a lot of interesting melodies, guitar leads, and riffs that could really borrow elements from black metal, death metal, thrash metal, and heavy metal. Now, early works of the bands are, of course, a little bit different than later on, when they have been more, I guess, melodic and heavy metal driven. And this is indeed the thing here with this album, Never Surrender. The thing here is, they have kind of started, I wouldn't dare to say abandoned fully, but at least take a little bit distance from thrash metal or even black metal in the traditional sense and moving towards something different. And Never Surrender is probably their most heavy metal album of all times. Before you're like, what the fuck? Really, if you give this album a listen or two, you will indeed figure out this is very, very much like listening to some modern heavy metal take. Then again, marrying elements to elements of thrash metal and black metal. So there are parts where it sounds like these guitar leads are borrowed from Bathory, and these melodic riffs are from, Iron Maiden, not exactly, but close. And then there are parts where it's more traditional black metal, and of course those thrasher parts, which are then again more leaning to their past, back in the days when the band was still located in Australia, not Austria, mind you. Overall, this album is not their best album of all times. Actually, I feel it quite the opposite, but that doesn't mean it's a good album. Overall, this is a catchy and quite compact with 40 minutes of music, and featuring the kind of a trademark vocals the band has always had with their music. Production is crisp as ever, and everything here makes sense. I mean, it's very, very nicely balanced album. Not their heaviest, not their, most catchy, I guess, but it's very, very well balanced between heavy metal, thrash metal, black metal, and beyond. Now, like I said, this band never made a meaningless album, at least in my opinion. All their albums are at least 8 out of 10 or better, and this one falls roughly in the middle. Not their best, not their worst. Very, very likable album, and definitely, in my opinion, one of the best albums this year. So even though the initial run with this CD felt a little bit of like a mild disappointment, but the more I gave it spins and the more I started to adjust my brain to how the recollections, with the band live and on albums, the more I like, okay, it's not actually a disappointment. I mean, like I said, all the albums are good, all actually great most of the time. So comparing to that, it's kind of like disappointment can mean a good album too. And this is indeed the case with Deströyer 666. So thank you for Season of Mist providing me a copy of this album. Goes to my personal collection, of course, and I strongly suggest people checking out this album. It's a really, really good one with a lot of fantastic heavy metal parts. So I urge people to give it a go and hopefully liking it. Links are provided in the description box, so listen and figure out for yourself whether or not this is your cup of tea. Thanks for watching, and should you have any comments or questions, drop me a line in the comments box below and I'll get back to you. Meanwhile, bye bye.